Hello everyone and welcome. We here at the Troubleshooters Corporation are so excited that you've chosen us to help you with your training session today. We have 185 employees worldwide training people just like you to solve problems and work efficiently. So let's meet our team of knowledgeable experts that will be helping you today.
Hi, I'm Adam.
I'm Connor.
And I'm Brindley. This team of experts has handcrafted this special training session just for you guys, all about problem solving. So our hope is that you're all ready to learn and have fun. So first, let's start by establishing some goals and objectives that we would like to get to today. Our first and most important goal for you all is that you'll all understand the problem-solving procedure and be able to use it to build future career skills through understanding where you have gone wrong in the past. And the second, equally as important skill is to understand what creates an effective team. Secondly, we hope that our participants will be able to understand the problem-solving procedure and use it to deal with issues more effectively, as well as learn what fosters an effective team and be able to create a more dynamic group environment in the future. We will begin by starting out with an activity. So grab a piece of paper and write down all of the things that you think would make an effective team by either answering the following questions or coming up with some ideas yourself. Save this list for later. You may take a second to pause the video in order to formulate your list. I'll now hand it over to Adam.
Now we will go over the characteristics of effective problem-solving teams. Effective teams are well prepared and organized in their meetings. The preparation comes from the subordinates, as they need to be informed prior to the meeting. The organization is stemmed from the leadership, and their job is to make sure the meeting is oriented towards the goals at hand. The best way to get to a goal is to move forward. However, it is important to let the discussion go backwards to anchor ideas in previous discussions, as well as laterally to consolidate members' thinking. Why is training crucial to foster effective teams? Training allows groups to work smarter, not harder, and in many cases improves production. It also provides and reinforces necessary skills such as basic problem solving, conflict resolution, trust building, as well as improving intercultural, nonverbal, and group dynamic skills. It also helps dispel prejudices and group hate. How do effective groups face assumptions and opinions? A great solution to these potential group hindrances are rewarding opinions and assumptions by building on them through conversation to find the best solution. Essentially, validating their thoughts by allowing the conversation to build upon them. It should be seen as okay to question their opinions of other group members in order to find the most effective solution. When group members are rewarded with positivity, they are more likely to give their opinion in the future and continue to add to the discussion. When your group has reached potential solutions, how do you go about picking which one is the best? A good way to do this is to compare solutions to predetermined criteria and identify potential consequences of solution adoption. Predetermined criteria are rules that the group has decided previously to use to reach a solution. Effective teams emphasize a consideration of consequences because it allows teams to effectively assess potential fallacy in their solution. Effective teams seek the best solution, not the quickest solution. Ineffective teams ignore the consequences of decisions and only focus on solutions. Something important to note in regard to effective problem solving is to avoid groupthink. Groupthink is a conflict avoidance strategy in which uncritical thinking is used. To avoid this, all members must be critical evaluators from an unbiased perspective. It can also be beneficial to bring in an outside perspective. Much of the responsibility falls upon the leaders because they are the driver of the conversation. Leaders must show unbiased tendencies, allow others to lead, and allow others to rethink and keep opinions to themselves.
Now take the time to answer this next discussion question. How has your idea of what an effective team looks like changed after learning about these characteristics? Let's switch gears as Connor and I will talk about the basic problem-solving procedure that we will use later in this lesson. Step 1. Define the problem. The first step involves writing the problem down in question form to identify specific problems and determine the impacts that they may have. This reduces bias and identifies who should act. This should be written as a question of fact.
Step 2. Research and analyze the problem. List all the topics needed to be researched and discussed. Then you must gather needed information. Leaders should postpone further meetings until time is allotted for team members to gather necessary information. Obviously, the more information you have, the better the decision is going to be. Discuss the information and organize using the following pattern. First, state the topic to be discussed. Then, give all members a chance to cite, research, and offer opinions. Ask for further opinions. Summarize your findings, and repeat until all topics have been discussed. Step 3. Establish a checklist of criteria. Criteria are the guidelines of a group that a group agrees to follow to reach a solution. There are some different types, and these are task criteria, operational criteria, and must criteria. Oh, and also want criteria. Criteria should always come after step 2. However, in many cases, step 3 and 4 can be reversed. It is important to come up with criteria prior to alternatives when the task is complex, the topic is emotional, and team members are inexperienced with the problem solving. Use it as guidelines to produce solutions, not solutions themselves. Step 4. List possible alternatives. Listing the alternatives without any evaluation can allow for creativity to flow. When they are both done at the same time, groups tend to have a harder time brainstorming alternatives. Brainstorming is writing down as many ideas as they come without worrying whether they are good or bad. Important things to remember when you're brainstorming are no negative feedback and think of as many alternatives as possible. Don't worry about being correct, worry about being creative. Think outside the box and build off of previously mentioned ideas. Step 5. Evaluate the alternatives. Remember to eliminate alternatives that do not solve the problem. Combine alternatives that are similar. Take a look at the must criteria and eliminate the ones that don't meet. Compare and calculate the remaining alternatives by usefulness level. Step 6. Select the best alternative. The best solution is the one that best fits the criteria created by the group. When the team is left with multiple solutions that fit the criteria, a decision can be made using a consensus, a compromise, and a vote. Consensus is the best option in which all members come to an agreement, but be aware of groupthink. Compromise is used when consensus when consensus cannot be met. No one truly wins or loses, but a decision is reached. And thirdly, vote. Vote is used when neither consensus or compromise can be met. The majority wins, but fosters winners and losers, which can lead to resentment.
Now that we've learned about our problem-solving procedure, we can move on to activity number 2. For this activity, pick a problem scenario, then analyze and solve it using the characteristics of an effective problem-solving team and the problem-solving procedure talked about previously. Feel free to pause on any scenario you want to do. Now let's watch a short video to reinforce the ideas that we've learned today.
When people say creativity, it conjures up images of sofas, strong coffee, free association, and ideas being thrown around a room. And there are times when that might be the case, but the real test of your creativity comes when you have to solve your own problems. Problem solving is a key skill in any job, particularly when you've just started out and want to show your worth. Because let's be honest, the world of work is mostly about making decisions and solving problems. Think about how you're marketing yourself to your employers. You're already thinking creatively about how to set yourself apart from everybody else. The challenges and intellectual hurdles you face are what makes work so interesting. And consider the way you approach a problem and the way you use that to improve your client's business will eventually help to define your career. What's really going on? The key is to see things that others might not. So start by understanding the problem. It sounds obvious, but some people struggle to identify exactly what needs to be achieved because it's not always clear. Whatever the situation, it's important to know exactly what your manager or your client expects. What should the outcomes be? How will your efforts be measured? I like to take myself out of the situation and give the problem the time it needs for a proper solution. I go swimming or running, I find an environment where my head is clear and I can get a different perspective on things. Sometimes when I'm doing this, I realise I've been trying to solve the wrong problem and actually I need to think about things in a different way. Make sure you have everything clear in your mind before you begin to think about a solution. And as you progress, keep in mind exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. Remember that your team or colleagues might offer a different perspective, so don't be afraid to ask the opinions and advice of those around you. Tap into your network. Someone you know might have had an experience of a similar situation or might have some good advice. This is true throughout the whole process of problem solving. Make use of the experiences and knowledge of the people around you. People are only too happy to help. And if you recognise that the situation or problem you're facing is beyond your ability to solve, make sure you ask for help. I've had to do this a number of times in the past, and every time I've had overwhelming support from my managers and my colleagues. Crowdsourcing is something of a buzzword, but it's an interesting concept for helping you to get to a solution, particularly when you're working on your own. Putting an idea or initial subject out to a large group, even if it's just your Facebook friends or Twitter followers, can produce incredible results. It's almost like conducting your own mini research, and it doesn't have to cost you a penny. I often use this to collect ideas before having a proper brainstorm, either on my own or in a group, and it can save hours. How you set about finding solutions will depend on your personality and what you find easiest. Techniques like mind mapping or road mapping enable you to think around an issue and prevent your thoughts from becoming too linear. Explore all ideas, even if you think they won't work. You might be surprised what comes up. And when you think you've found a good solution, remember, refer back to the original objectives. Do you think you've met what you set out to achieve? If you're happy with the outcomes, make sure you organise your thoughts. Your team members and managers will want to see your process and how you've gotten to that point. Once you're confident thinking creatively about your own tasks and projects, you'll be more confident when you're involved in group brainstorms and meetings too. Effective brainstorms provide a good platform for everyone to get involved, and everyone should get a chance to speak and add their thoughts. There's great value in understanding all perspectives, counter-arguments, and points of view. I find that brainstorming can help validate my take on things. So even if you're the most junior member of the team, have the confidence to speak up, add your opinion, or ask questions. There's a big chance someone else in the room will be asking the same thing. Also remember that people will be open to your ideas, particularly if you're new. You may be able to offer a fresh perspective to a room full of experts. Keep reminding yourself what it is your client wants to achieve. Getting a range of thoughts and perspectives and finding a creative solution to a problem takes planning, dedication, and confidence. It's a confident person who seeks the opinions and views of others. But your ability as an individual to think creatively will be one of the most important things you can learn.
Problem solving is a skill that's important to have for any job. So as we leave you today, we hope we've reinforced all the tools that you need to problem solve in the future. As we leave you today, we hope you learned something, and here are some final discussion questions to think about. Thanks for watching.